By supporting the Flower Valley Conservation Trust, that's where we found goodness. Pick n Pay, always there for you.
Welkom terug, jy is ingeskakel by 'n goed voel ontbytprogram. Dis Expresso net hier op SABC3. Thank you so much for joining us on this feel good morning. Now, with the average cost of living ever increasing, it is hard to stay afloat nowadays. Prices like fuel, food, entertainment, and even medicine. But when it comes to medicine, you can actually save a few bucks by opting for the generic alternative. And to teach us a bit more about generic medicines this morning, Fransa Katz joins us in studio. Fransa, very nice to have you back. Always nice to have you because you know it's Thursday. The weekend's
Yes,
almost
you.
here. So I didn't know this, but it's National Pharmacy Week.
That's right.
With the theme being generic medicines.
That's right.
Is
Yeah,
that just to put the focus on generic medicines and what they do?
Yes, to inform our patients and to inform people in general what generic medication is all about.
All right, so on that point, what are generics?
Generics is when you would find a generic medication and it's called a generic of the original when it's bioequivalent, when it's the same or almost the same in the dose, in the route of administration, the efficacy, the safety. All those features are similar or almost exactly the same, and then that particular drug will then be the generic of the first one that was ever brought out onto the market.
All right. No, I know it's been a long winter. A lot of people have been sick. I have been sick. My boy has been sick.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, so medicines in terms of expenses, they rack up. Now, when I got to the counter, and they always ask you, do you want the original or do you want the generic? But it sounds like when they say the generic, it almost sounds like you're not getting exactly the same quality medicine. Is it the same?
Yes, it is. You need to understand that we have the Medical Control Council in the country.
Yes.
And for a company to register a generic medication, that medication has to have the same concentration in the bloodstream as the original, because you'll find that the generic medication has a different name, but if you look at the ingredient, the active ingredient in the generic one and the original brand name is exactly the same.
Okay.
Now, for the generic company to register that with the Medical Control Council, they have to bring proof of scientific proof of clinical trials, etc., that shows that that generic medication, the active ingredient, has the same concentration in the bloodstream from the time that you take it till it's excreted to the brand name one.
Okay.
All right, so that is one of the criteria. As I said, the safety, everything else, the quality has to be the same.
Yes.
The only reason why it is cheaper is because
I think people would like to know.
Because you think because it's cheaper, it's not going to work that well.
Exactly.
Right. Is because once it's very expensive for a drug company to bring a new drug onto the market. They've got to do many, many clinical trials, and there's a lot of money put into it until that drug is allowed to get onto the market. And then what they usually do, they patent it for a certain period of time. They register a patent, 10 years or 20 years, and nobody else is allowed to bring the same medication onto the market. But once the patent expires, any other company can use all the scientific research. Everything has already been done, so they don't have to put money into that. All they have to do is they just have to prove and show that their drug is similar, almost 100% the same as the original.
Exactly.
And when they've proven that, they can put it on the market at a much cheaper price.
Exactly,
because they didn't have to do all the background. And that's the only reason why it is cheaper, not because it's inferior.
Francois, thank you so much for joining us and just explaining it to us.
It's a pleasure.
And it really makes a difference. I'm sure it'll make a difference in a lot of people's pockets as well.
It does.
Yes,
It definitely does.
For sure. So next time you head down to the pharmacy when you get medicine, opt for the generic option because it really can save you a little bit of money. Now, last night was yet another exciting episode of Strictly Come Dancing on SABC3. It was a bit of a sad episode for us as well because our man Graham reached the end of the road. So right now, let's cross over to Mr. Lottering and find out how Graham was feeling.